Welcome to TouchMD's summer release party. Today, we'll be giving you a glimpse of what features have been added to TouchMD during this quarter. My name is Teresa De Silva, and I'm the Director of Product Marketing for TouchMD. I will be your MC for the webinar, which will include asking some interactive poll questions to help us understand what your practice is currently doing. Along with answering the poll questions, we would love for you to submit your questions during the webinar since we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. Along with me, I have Tyler Terry, who is the Director of Sales for TouchMD. He will be your guide throughout the webinar to show you all the latest and greatest enhancements of TouchMD. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Tyler.
Hey, thank you so much, Teresa. I really appreciate that. And hello, everyone. Hope you guys are having a great day wherever you're at. We are super excited to show off some of our latest enhancements and innovations at TouchMD. So at the core, for those of you who are on here that have never seen TouchMD before, know that TouchMD is a patient engagement technology. So it's super unique in the marketplace. There's nothing else like it. We integrate with over 30 different systems, but know that TouchMD is going to be used really in three ways. It's going to be used as a sales aid to give a consultation, and you're going to have real-time access to any piece of content that you need to deliver the most robust consultation. The second is in-practice marketing. So imagine handing a menu of your services to your patient at the point of care, pre-consult, in the consult room. So handing an iPad to the patient, pulling up whatever they're here for, if it's Morpheus 8, if it's Botox, if it's the new Volux from Allergan, and the patient's going to be able to consume content, videos, before and afters, testimonials, and reviews. And then the third aspect is photography. So we're a best-in-class photography system. And really today, we have two things that we've reimagined at TouchMD. The first being Chart Pro. So with Chart Pro comes a very intuitive and I would say user-friendly way to chart. So we've reimagined what it should look and feel like to chart via TouchMD. And so now you're actually going to have a dedicated charting section within the patient tab, which I'll walk you through here in a second. And within that section, you're actually going to be able to draw on whether it's a chart or a picture of the patient that you can pull directly from the patient gallery. And you're going to be able to add chart notes, and it's very robust. It's incredibly customizable and very intuitive. Now with Snap Pro, with Snap has been one of the hero products of TouchMD, and the hero product of a company is typically like your centerpiece of a technology. So Snap has been one of the most loved apps to use within TouchMD, and it's also a really fun app to use. With Snap, we've had grid lines and ghosting, which have been amazing for the industry. But as we've researched and developed, and as we're constantly trying to, provide the best-in-class technology for your practice, we've realized that we were missing a few things that would help you increase efficiencies and simplify workflows. And with Snap Pro, we have sequencing now. And imagine today when you're taking a picture without TouchMD Snap Pro, and typically you take more than one angle, right? With Snap Pro, you're going to have grid lines that are going to actually flip as the patient turns for those various angles. So imagine today you're having the patient stand in front of you, whether you have a dedicated photo room, or if you have, excuse me, or if you have just a simple room where you're taking photos. And typically you're going to have different angles that you're going to take per service. So for cool sculpting, a lot of times we're taking 5 angles. And if you have cool sculpting, a lot of times you have a little cool sculpting blue photo dial. And you'll have that photo dial on the floor, and the patient's going to turn on the 1s, on the 2s, on the 3s, and they're going to turn listening to your voice and your direction and you're going to capture those different angles. Now, a pain point for you though is a lot of times staff members, although they're trying their best, they'll forget to take a certain angle, or maybe they're just in a rush. With TouchMD Snap Pro, it's going to essentially guide the user based on the procedure, product, or service that we're taking pictures of to have the patient turn as we're navigating that patient through the different angles. So we'd say, hey, Ashley, I want you to go ahead and look to your right. And then as she turns to her right 3/4 on the twos, straight on, left 3/4, left side, the grid lines again are going to flip. The other thing that we have within Snap Pro is a new level. So a pain point for your practice today is, even if you're fairly consistent, we're obviously all different heights, right? You might have a patient that's shorter or taller, a staff member that's taller or shorter, which leads to us holding an iPad or iPhone and having some sort of a tilt, whether we're tilting forwards or backwards. A lot of times it's not a perfect 90. And with this new level comes the ability to auto capture a true 90-degree angle, which is amazing. And the third aspect of Snap Pro comes in the fashion and in the form of social media integration. So we can integrate with your TikTok, with your Instagram, with your Facebook. And what's cool is the fact that whoever's managing your social media, number one, they're going to be able to search for the tag, Instagram, TikTok, social, whatever you name it. Number two, they're going to post directly from TouchMD. It's going to verify and prompt you to check to see if the patient signed off on their consent. And if they didn't, you'll actually be able to give that staff member certain staff permissions to assign the consent before posting. Now, the other piece of this is within TouchMD, you now can watermark. So a lot of times, we want to post our work, but we don't want somebody to steal it, right? So within TouchMD now, instead of having to download, use, Adobe Spark, add your logo, or Canva, right? Add your logo, pull it back in. Now you can actually manage every aspect of your photography experience and photography management via TouchMD, which means we're going to capture photos even more consistently with Snap Pro. We're going to be able to showcase them at the point of care in the consult room with the patient, whether we're giving a consult or if she's already at a very happy, excited moment where she had a great result. And then we're going to be able to deliver them to the patient so they can see them from home. But then most importantly, we're going to be able to post them to social right after we watermarked that image. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off here. So I'm on the consult app. So remember, there's 3 apps within TouchMD. There's a consult app. That's going to be the technology that you're going to use in the office for a consult. We have the patient app that patients download on their phone, iPhone or Android from home. And then we have the photo app, which would be what you would expect to take photos. Now, again, here on the consult app, I have the patient logged in at the top right-hand corner of the screen, Ashley Edwards. I'm under her patient tab. So at the top left, this is patient tab. Now, the third item down says charting. This is the new tab for Chart Pro. Now from here, I'm going to be able to see by the date what I've already charted for Ashley. I'm going to see any notes, I'm going to see the staff member that actually charted, and then this is actually a completed chart. So I can actually dial in and click on it and open up that chart experience. Now from here, it's going to, again, give me any notes, it's going to show me the chart, any notes that are there. But what I'm going to do now is click New Chart. On the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, click New Chart. Now it's going to prompt me to choose a chart element. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with pulling something from the patient. Now, something that I like to do, I'm going to show you an example here. I'm going to go ahead and take 3 angles of the patient along with a chart, right? Now I'm getting fancy here, but what's cool is I could really combine with Chart Pro. I can combine photos of the patient with the chart. Now at the top, I'm going to go ahead and just point this out for you guys. At the top right-hand corner of this little square, we have some buttons, right? I'm going to go ahead and click on, give me 1 second here. I'm going to click on the bubbles. There's 3 bubbles here, and then I'm going to click markup. Markup means I can draw on it, right? Now I can actually chart. So I can zoom in and chart on a picture of the patient, and I use my Apple Pencil. If you're using an iPad, I'd recommend using the iPad Air or the iPad Pro. Apple is supposed to come out with a new 14-inch iPad next year. I'm sure that one will be great as well, but I would use the Pro or the Air. Now I'm gonna simply rest my palm on the screen and I can chart right on to her photo, right? So I'm just messing around, don't make fun of me, just writing on her photo. And then of course I can come up here, treated by Tyler, we did 12 a unit, 40 units, $480. And I could do dots, I could do numbers, I could do whatever I want, right? Totally messing around. You could choose colors, you could do a lot of different things. But what's cool is we can see these different angles, right? Instead of having to have the patient right in front of me, I can zoom in and look at her 3/4 right angle, or I can look at her 3/4 left angle. And then once I'm done, I'm gonna hit save, and that's gonna save it. Now down here, I can add a note. What's cool about this is I can either type in my note or I can write it. So I can write it and say Botox, and check this out, it'll flip it to text. So you're kind of already in that writing mode. So instead of having to go from writing on her photo to typing, you can continue to write, but it flips it to text, which is pretty cool. Now I want to add one more chart section just to show you another example. So let's do another patient image, but we can get as creative as we'd like. This puts the chart side by side with a photo of the patient. And again, I'm going to click on the three bubbles, click markup, and then now again, I can zoom in on the left, I can zoom in on the right, I can chart as I'm looking, or I could just chart. And then once I'm done, it's going to again save it. And if I click save PDF, it saves it as a PDF and it's done. Now the next phase of Chart Pro will give your medical director the ability to sign off remotely, which is pretty cool. And they'll have the same experience where they can actually, I'm just gonna give you guys this cool little example here. They'll actually download this dashboard app on their iPhone or iPad, and there will be a new section. Right now it says blasts and consents in the center, but there will also be a box that says charts. And they'll actually click in here and it'll show all of the patients that they need to sign off on. And they just sign off right here, which is pretty cool. All right, so now the next piece of TouchMD is Snap Pro. So I'm in the patient gallery. So again, top left, patient tab, enter gallery. It's gonna show me your photos, right? On the bottom center, there's a little camera button, a camera icon. If I click on that, that's going to launch my photo app. Now, before I take a photo, it's going to prompt me to tag the photo, to title the photo, to select a sequence. So let's just tag this, or sorry, let's title this as full correction. I'm sure a lot of you are doing that. And then we're going to tag it as before. We're going to say filler. We're going to say lips, Juvederm velour, great. And then I'm actually going to tag it as Instagram too. So whoever's managing my social is going to have real-time access, which is pretty cool. And the next thing, visible or not to patient. That just means, can she see it from home through the app or portal? I'm going to keep that on. And then sequence, this is where we can actually create a custom sequence based on the product, service, or procedure. So procedure, product, service, customizable. I'm going to choose face. Now this is where the software is going to line up the patient. So if this patient was standing in front of me, I can capture her photo consistently. Now, as she's turning, these grid lines are going to flip, 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 right? So she's on the left, she flips over to the right, and as she turns her feet and moves to these different angles, I'm going to capture that. The next thing that we have is the auto capture, which means that you don't have to try to find that perfect 90. So on the bottom center of the screen, I have this level. This level, when it's on a perfect 90, it's going to auto capture the photo if it's there for 1 second. I'm just going to X that out. Know that you still have ghosting, and then you have some more robust grid lines. So you have a lot of new grid lines to choose from. You could do minimal grid lines, right? You could do maximal grid lines. You could do whatever you like. And then we have the new ghosting as well. And ghosting is more intuitive because it's actually going to guide you through it, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and select a photo. So imagine she came in 3 months ago Here she is today. If you look at the right center of the screen, there's a little button that's going up and down saying, hey, Ty, slide your finger up and down to change that opacity, right? So if she was standing in front of me, I can line her up right here, which is kind of cool. And I should have another photo there. And then know that this also, I'm going to go ahead and I'll pinch out here in a second. Actually, I'll do this. With Snap Pro, it also includes Canon Connect, which means you can actually sync a Canon camera with your photo app. So we give you the best of both worlds. We say, hey, if you want to use an iPad or iPhone to take your pictures, great. Here's the best in class photo app with grid lines, ghosting, sequencing, tagging, social media integration, amazing. But hey, you know what? Your practice, you guys are really trying to level up your photography. You have a photo room, great. We have an exclusive partnership with Canon. And what happens here is you get all of the things you would have gotten on the iPad, grid lines, ghosting, sequencing, video, everything, tagging, but the iPad now becomes your viewfinder, right? So this is the viewfinder. This is the item that's capturing that high res photo. But the pain point, if you've ever used a Canon or Nikon camera, it's great. The pain point is the photo is saved to the SD card, and then you have to pull the SD card out, and then you have to take that over to your computer and upload it, and then you have to figure out where you're uploading it to. With TouchMD, we eliminate all of those steps. The photos literally go right into the TouchMD cloud. If we integrate with your EMR system, they're going to shoot into your EMR or PM system, great. And then you're going to have real-time access. So again, with photography, we know that the common denominator is consistency, right? Consistent angles, expressions, distance, background, lighting, right? Now consistent sequences and angles. But what we really want and what we're trying to solve is the next pain point, which is it's always the pain point to get the pictures in front of the patient. And so TouchMD is going to come in to save the day to say, hey, you just took those photos with the photography system with our photo app. Well, now guess what? We can actually do some really cool things with the photos, right? I can actually take the before and after, put it on one single image, and I could slide my finger back and forth. Or TouchMD can do the heavy lifting for you and can create the reveal video for you. Awesome. Or, hey, you took the photos, now you want to post them to social. So now we need to actually, and I'm just showing off a few new things here. Now we need to actually open up our watermark section and tag it, right? So I need to go ahead and stamp my logo and prep it for social. Or maybe you're a trainer for Allergan or Galderma, and you want to use some type of educational mask to talk about the golden ratio. Or maybe you want to level up your skincare consults and you want to say, hey, Ashley, everything on the left side of your face, that's going to be your AM regimen. Everything on the right side of your face, that's going to be your PM regimen, right? So you go stamp, 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 make your recommendations, point, point, point with some cool tools. Type in AM, type in PM, save it, tag it, done. Super, super easy. And then one more thing, when you capture those videos, again, pain point isn't, you can use your camera today, right, to capture stuff, but you need it to be secure, and then you need a tool to show it. And with TouchMD right here, one of the easiest ways to level up your photography or videography experience is to not just capture still imagery, but to capture movement and expression and then show that. So just to round everything off, we have Chart Pro and Snap Pro, the professional versions of both modules. With Chart Pro, we're reimagining what it looks and feels like to experience charting, right? Giving you some best-in-class tools and some ways that we've reimagined what that should look and feel like for your practice. And know that we can actually send those over to your EMR or PM system. With Snap Pro, we're giving you new tools and technologies with sequencing, advanced leveling, a new social media integration, being able to post it directly to social. But all in all, TouchMD is trying to be a best-in-class technology, a luxury software for your practice. Our goal is to enhance the patient experience at the point of care. And the point of care isn't just in the practice, it's before they come in, when they're in the waiting room, when they're in the consult room, when they're in the photo room, when they leave, by, hey, download the patient app, and you can actually browse through our services, and I can track what you're looking at. You can see your photos, you can sign your consents, you can review your pre and post. Patient comes in, we're going to enhance the patient, increase revenue per guest by giving them this beautiful menu experience, by being able to actually pull up whatever they're here for with TouchMD's beautiful UI, right? And if they're here today for, it could be anything, I'm just gonna pull up Neograph. They're here today for Neograph, well, they could browse through Neograph and they can hit back and view other things. And the provider can see that in real time. And then when you take their photo, being able to level up your photography by being consistent, having best in class cool tools to use, and then even letting the patient circle areas that they'd like to enhance. And then again, when the patient goes home, they're going to relive and retain. So thank you so much. I think we might, I don't know if we're gonna do one question here, but just want to thank everybody for their time. If you have any questions or you'd like to learn more, maybe get a one-on-one demo, you can obviously call our home office. You can reach out through our website, touchmd.com. We actually have same-day demos available, so there's slots always open. Usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes to show it to you. Now that you've seen a lot of things, it's probably going to be like 5 to 10 minutes to really dial in. And just know that we're always here for you whenever you're ready to level up any of these different aspects of your practice.
Great, thanks, Tyler. Before we jump into the questions that have been submitted, it looks like we have 4 so far. I would love to throw a few polls on the screen just so we can get an understanding of the practices that are on and what you're doing already for charting and cameras. So let's see how you're currently charting. Are you using paper, digitally, on your EMR, or a combination of the above? I'll give you just a second to respond so Tyler can understand a little bit more about how you're charting before he answers some of these questions. And it looks like the majority of you are charting on your EMR. So from the camera system perspective, let's learn a little bit more about what you're doing for taking your photos. Are you using an iPad, iPhone, or mirrorless DSLR? I'll give you just a moment to respond.
Okay, nice little mix. Mostly iPad and iPhone, but we do have some using a DSLR or mirrorless camera.
And then the last one before we jump into the Q&A that have been submitted by everyone who's attended is we'd love to know who's currently signing off on your charts for your practice. Is it a medical director that's off-site, on-site, a nurse practitioner, or do you really not have anybody signing off on your charts? Okay, for this, it looks like we've got medical director and nurse practitioner tied. Okay, great. So let's go into the question portion. The first question is, how does TouchMD compare to RX Photo?
Yeah, excuse me, that's a great question. So we typically get a couple practices every week that upgrade to TouchMD. RX Photo is great. It's a great photo app, but essentially it's one small piece of TouchMD. It's probably 3% of what we do. So typically what happens is practices that go with RX Photo or that have used it, they outgrow it. So they want more than just a photo app, and they're really missing the story, right? The story is with TouchMD, we're educating the patient at the point of care. We're helping increase revenue per guest because they're being able to browse through your services. And one of the big 2 things that we do that RX Photo doesn't do, along with many other things, would be patients don't get this experience of educating and being able to browse through services, number 1. Number 2, the provider doesn't get this experience of having a sales aide to guide them through the consult, and then also having a best-in-class patient app where the patient app is also going to be marketing your services. So imagine, actually I'll show it to you guys right now. Imagine if you had TouchMD, you have this beautiful patient app, 78% of patients will log in within 24 hours. And then of those 78% of patients, they'll log in 5 times within 30 days. But what's cool here is I log in, the Trojan horse is because I want to see my photos, but you get to market your services at the top of the app. So you have the golden nugget, why they're even going to log in and why they keep it. And then you're also going to be able to think of Starbucks, pinging you Starbucks push notifications for double star, afternoon, frappuccino, whatever. You can do that same thing here. So imagine Mother's Day, if you guys offer or use Ally, for Mother's Day, Allie had their buy a $150 gift card for $100. You obviously were texting that out, you're emailing that out, you're putting on your story. This isn't meant to replace email or text. It's meant to complement and, if anything, make it better. So imagine if you could have pushed that out to your patients also through what's called an app blast directly to the app, which is amazing. So there's a lot of really robustness. So when anybody that has ARX Photo, they see it, they know it's a lot more. It's the complete story. It's ARX Photo on steroids times 10. So it just provides new elements to make photography better, to better educate, to better consult. So great question.
Okay, great. We've actually had several come in related to what EMR systems do you integrate with? And then specifically, we had somebody ask about ND Wear to help avoid redundancy of staff charting for the patient portal.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't integrate with MDWare. We've actually tried in the past. They're just built on an older platform. So, we can integrate through what's called an HL7 or an API, and they actually don't have either. I've actually met with them a few times, but with TouchMD, so for example, if you wanted to continue using MDWare and then TouchMD, we do have hundreds of practices that'll use them separately. The value of the integration comes in eliminating dual entry. That's the first piece. The next value of an integration, if it's a level 2 integration, would be pictures and consents from TouchMD sending back to your EMR. So you would have to, what would be good for you is to actually kind of have a one-on-one to see the value of TouchMD and see if we can save you 30 minutes a day, well then creating an extra patient that takes maybe 20 seconds won't be a big deal. And of course, if we're increasing revenue per guest and those different things. So pain point for you is going to be we don't integrate, but the value for you is going to be we're going to save you a lot of time. So, and we integrate with almost 40 systems. So when you do switch, or if you switch, we more than likely will integrate with that system.
Okay, perfect. Next question that came in is how long does it take to get your TouchMD system set up?
Yeah, so it's a great question. On average, 30 days, but here's the kicker. It's at your speed. So at your speed could mean it's longer than 30, but at your speed could be it's quicker than 30. So if you're super motivated, if you said, hey, Ty, I need to take pictures with this tomorrow, we can turn it on. You can start taking pictures. The customization is what takes the longest, right? Because we want to tailor it to you. And we believe that just as every practice should have a website, right? Your website, a lot of design, a lot of thought, a lot of beauty goes into that. Same thing with your TouchMD system. We believe every practice should have an in-practice marketing, in-practice consult tool. So the hardest part is going to be on our side, customizing it, making it look fresh, beautiful, modern, mirroring your website, mirroring your colors, all those different things. So the short answer is it's at your speed, but that could mean I've had practices that are up and running in 2 weeks. So it's just at your speed.
Next question is, does SnapPro have the option to cover or blind the eyes for patients who do not want to have that on social media?
Yeah, so TouchMD can actually do that. So it would actually be done on the consult app. So that could be done in any way you want, whether you want to put a bar, if you want to put stickers, if you want to put dots, whatever you want to do. Literally, it could be anything. Because of the watermarking section, we can actually stamp, could be your logo that goes over their eyes. It could be literally sky's the limit for that. So and it's really easy to show you whatever you want to see there. But answer, yes.
Great. And then we actually have a current client who's on and would like to know, how do you update the current version of TouchMD to those new modules you showed?
Yeah, really easy. You can reach out to any of us at TouchMD, whatever's most convenient for you. If you want to email your CSA, Client Success Advisor, if you want to call the home office, and usually Bree picks up and she'll direct you. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to any of us. We'll all take care of you. So it's a matter of which modules do you want, and then we get you trained. Again, that's at your speed too. But we usually have trainings available within the next couple business days that you can start getting trained. So, and just know that training wise with this typically takes 3 1-hour trainings. But the cool part is you get unlimited training. So there's no limit to how much training and support you get. So.
Okay, great. And that was our last question. So I just want to thank Tyler for his time showing everybody, and for everybody who attended. And also, if you had anybody else at your practice who maybe wanted to attend but they weren't able to, we are going to be sending out a link to be able to watch this on demand. So feel free to share that with others in your practice. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a great day. Thanks, Teresa.